What do you think, Gasser? Time for a nap? Time for a cat nap. I mean, oh, sorry. So, just want to finish it. Hello again. We are here at the Barrows House in Dorset, Vermont. I'm here with Richard. He is the manager of Barrows House, and we're here to talk about their facilities and how they allow pets on your traveling too. So we have a couple different properties, I'm in the understanding.
That is correct.
The Barrows House and the Dorset Inn, and how does that kind of facilitate your options for your guests?
Well, we have obviously the same owners for both properties. We have 25 rooms at the Dorset Inn and 27 rooms here.
Right.
A little difference is that we do have 6 acres of open grounds,
right.
Which gives great walking space for all pets of any kind.
Okay, that's great. So do you just take dogs, or do you take other kind of animals?
We actually take, we certainly will take all other animals. I think the most surprising that we had was a canary.
That is a bit interesting that you'd be traveling with your canary. I don't know. I probably would leave my canary at home, but maybe the canary was getting used to having a little bit more of flight, if you will. But well, that's interesting, because not every hotel or bed and breakfast would accommodate more than just dogs. So that's very interesting. Have you found that that you have gotten a variety of cats, or is it mainly dogs that you get?
I think mainly, for the most part, we do dogs. You see a lot of the teacup variety, the little ones that travel very well. We have had as large as Rottweilers here, so we can accommodate in the larger rooms. Most all of our pet-friendly rooms are on the first floor. So it's easy, and most of them do have separate access rather than through the front of the building as well. There's an additional entrance or back exit as well. So
well, that's convenient. And so not all of the rooms are pet friendly, so you have a little bit of privacy if a guest doesn't necessarily have a pet. They can still have a separate sort of part of the hotel for them.
That's correct. The way our property is set up, we have 8 buildings on the 6 acres.
Okay.
Generally speaking, as I said, the first floor is pet friendly, and some of the buildings are not pet friendly at all. So
right.
we can vary with whatever is coming in as far as pets.
Right, you can accommodate for whatever customization
Most
that
certainly.
your guests need. Yeah, well, that's very fascinating. Now you have a little bit of flexibility then with the different kinds of outbuildings, and so you can actually bring in some functions and a few wedding parties and so forth between the two of the hotels.
We do, yes. We actually, between the Dorset Inn and Barrows House, market as a destination wedding facility, so we can fill the 52 rooms, and once everybody is here on Friday afternoon, you're here for the weekend until Sunday brunch, and everybody's off back to real life, if you will.
Right.
After a wonderful weekend here in southern Vermont.
Vermont. Now this is definitely more of it's sort of a boutique resort, I would say, and how you have it laid out. Now, what are the things that your guests would be expecting if they were traveling with their pets when they would upon arrival to the Barrows House?
Well, we actually, upon taking reservations, and we obviously, the guests are inquiring if they're pet friendly, we always ask the pet's name, which goes into the reservation as well. So we try to greet them at the door.
That's really handy.
And obviously we do offer in the rooms upon check-in a nice little care package for
yes, I see some little treats here.
There is treats.
A little doggy bowl,
and
complete with paw
bed.
prints.
Absolutely. And it's always nice to see them around during the whole stay. We make a point of going out and making them feel welcome as well. So
just like the guests of the human variety.
That is correct. Absolutely.
That's very important, yes. And we discussed a little bit about planning for pets, and when you're traveling, that you would want to make sure that when they would bring some of the things that might be recognizable from home, but also it's great when a place like the Barrows House and the Dorset Inn has just the amenities very available to them, so then they walk in, the pet can be not so as intimidated being in a new space.
We've actually, it's neat to see the animals become very comfortable at a place that they haven't been. We've had several people say that my dog never sleeps on a dog bed unless they come here.
Until here.
They absolutely love it.
Interesting.
There's many repeat guests who stay in the same rooms, and as soon as the dogs arrive, they know exactly where they're going to.
That's interesting. So they definitely have a little bit of more recognition of this is kind of my second home.
Absolutely.
So yeah, because definitely dogs with their olfactory is their communication with the entire world.
Sure.
Would recognize that if they came here and sniff it out. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So in the history of the two buildings, what is the difference between the Barrows House and the Dorset Inn?
They're circa basically starting about the same, obviously, in the year back when Dorset was being settled as a vacation spot for New York City dwellers who would spend the whole summer. But the Dorset Inn dates back to 1796. Barrows House dates to 1804. So obviously the original building, at one point it was a 500-acre farm. And around the year of 1900, a family by the name of Barrows purchased here and started having guests stay.
Right. Well, that's interesting. A 500-acre farm. That's a significant farm.
Absolutely.
To go from farm to lodging, yeah. There was actually a cluster of those in Vermont. Vermont is definitely that storybook of rolling hills and farms and barns turned into B&Bs, and it's really the whole charm of a place like this, I think, is that it does have that essence of a little bit more of the natural trees, but still in connection with the history of the nature and the farms as well. So is there anything that would stick out between your place as opposed to other places to come visit with your pets?
You know, I think not only do we have a great surrounding here with, as I said, lots of green space, but I really feel the extra special touches by getting those pets' names as they check in and greeting them as they arrive, just as our other guests do. They are
personal buddies as they walk in the door.
Absolutely, and it's always great to see the same ones come back.
Yep, that's what it's all about, is a service.
Absolutely.
So, well, you know that the AAA has over 12,000 places in America now that allow pets. So it's a big growing industry, and as well as traveling with your pets, variety of things in the pet shops that you can buy. So it's really fantastic to be able to really sit in here and get a personalized view of what someone can expect when they're traveling with their pets.
Absolutely.
So Richard, I know that you offer more than just accommodations for your guests. It seems that you have a really beautiful patio out here. What is that for?
We do actually. Excellent food, great culinary staff here. We have a super bar.
I would approve.
Really based on the whole marble quarry, which was here back in the turn of the century. Fantastic job done by all, including the patio here, fire pit as well at nighttime to give it that New England experience while you're dining out here as well.
Well, I've definitely sampled some of your cocktails. The pear is one of my favorites, but looks like you have a lot of different availability for everybody, your dogs and your human variety guests. If your pet would not necessarily need to come with your guest, would there be options for your guest to call someone to watch the pet, or how does that work?
We do actually, and here on the patio, we do allow on the outskirts, on the grassy area, for you to dine right here on the patio and your dog to dine right here along with you.
That's great. Really
but we do have a wonderful list of pet sitters that would do in-room or at their house as well. So.
Oh, nice. That's really great. I love that. All the little details matter. Thank you, Richard.
Absolutely.
Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your doggy's good looking. So hush, little puppy, don't you cry. It's summertime, folks, and that's why we've been out walking our dogs and getting out in that great weather, and thank God it's summer, because it was really, really cold in winter. So we're so happy and feeling so spoiled, because that's one of the best seasons in Vermont. It's just green and beautiful, and you just hang out and you just play. So we've walked our way right into our kitchen here at Pet Eats, and we've just finished our long, beautiful, hot walk, and we're tired, and my legs are burning, and my shorts are sticking to my thighs, and I just drank all of Astor's water in his bowl, and we now need something to cool down with. So we're going to do that in a very healthy way, because as we were talking and walking, we were discussing the health habits and benefits of walking our dogs. And one of the biggest problems in America today is obesity with ourselves and with our pets, and it's about 54% of dogs and cats are considered to be obese in the US. That's really high. So basically what obesity is an imbalance of your energy intake versus what is being used up. So a lot of the pets in America are just being a little bit overfed. And I guess it's probably our fault, right? Because we love our pets and we want to feed them things because we know it makes them happy. But the endorphins that we're getting and our pets are getting from getting little treats all the time is not necessarily doing their body very good. So we're going to figure out a treat today that is yummy, tasty, and healthy as well. So the category of obesity means that your pet or your cat is about 10 to 15% over their normal body weight. If you look down at your poochie or your kitty and you can't see a waistline, but you see more of that shape, your pet's going to be obese. So we want to avoid that. And usually the pets that are between 5 and 10 years old are going to be a little bit obese in that category because they're not going to be quite as active. And that's another thing that we're going to be considering is how active your pets are. Now, when you are walking with your pets, you're going to be getting exercise yourself. So there's actually several studies that have proven that you get more exercise when you own pets, or dogs specifically. We're not really walking our cat. I don't want my cat around. I mean, maybe some people do, but my kitties that we used to have when I was young, they didn't get walked. They were like, I don't think so. But my dogs are like, great. Actually, there was a study in the University of Michigan State University, in 2011 that determined you get 60% of your recommended moderate and vigorous exercise that is required or recommended by the Food and Drug Administration. So that is one determination. There's some other studies that showed that when you own a dog, you actually exercise 30 minutes more than if you didn't own a dog. And with elderly, their pace of walking increased by 28%. So there's a lot of different things that are beneficial and actually proven to come out of owning a pet and exercising with your pet. So we have a few different things today. In regards to giving your pets dairy, you don't want to give them anything with lactose. I know there are a lot of home sites and a lot of people that just say, oh, give them cheese, give them, something that does milk or dairy, ice cream. Only if it's lactose free, guys, because dogs and cats are lactose intolerant. And you don't want to give them a tummy ache, you don't want to give them diarrhea. So let's not do that. But what we do have today, we have a lactose-free yogurt. So we're going to be making some yogurt pops. We're going to put a little bit of organic peanut butter in there. And then we're going to add a little bit of our Champlain Valley honey, and that's going to be good, and add a little bit of flavor to it without adding some sugars that are a little too sugary and not so healthy and not so beneficial, but these have a lot of antihistamines in it, so that's okay. We're also going to add a little carrot and some honeydew because those are veggies and fruits and they have natural sugars in them and also some fiber, and of course carrots have a ton of stuff in them along with vitamin A, vitamin K, things like that. So let's start by getting our firmer items ready for putting into our recipe and into our bowl. So this is honeydew. Melons are okay to give to your poochies. There are some things you don't want to give them, such as avocado, anything with seeds. Avocado has a toxin, well, it's an ingredient called persin, and that's not good for your pets. It's actually toxic to them. You don't want to give them chocolate, of course. And there's some other things that you really want to try to avoid. I would recommend going to Pet WebMD for a really good list. It's a very complete list of things that you don't want to give your pets that is actually toxic to them. So the other thing that is not good for your pets is garlic and onions. There's a little bit of debate because garlic possibly could have some benefits to them, but it breaks down the red blood cells because it has sulfides and sulfoxides. There's a lot of sulf going on there. In general, that is not good, and it breaks down the red blood cells in your poochies. So let's not do that. So I'm actually going to do do my little chef trick and just use my hands, put it right into the bowl. And it was like one slice. You don't need it to be a lot of it because we're going to be mixing it up into, and actually these are little petite little popsicle molds because again, this is a treat. It's not going to be your whole meal for your doggy. And we'll talk a little bit about the caloric intake that is recommended for those, for your dogs and your cats. So we're going to put a carrot here, a little bit of carrot, shave it up because the smaller the pieces, the better, honestly, when you're talking about fruits and vegetables, just because Mother Nature gave our predators digestive systems that are much more in tune with meat. So anything that we are giving them that's fruits and vegetables, you want to give it to them in a way that's not going to be quite as difficult for them to digest. My dog Astor, who now has cancer, bless his heart, he gets very spoiled, by the way. He gets lots of salmon at my restaurant, lots of good stuff. But he thinks he's a horse when he's around our horse. He loves to eat carrots only when he's around the horse who's eating carrots. But carrots are good in fiber, of course, lots of vitamins in there, and it's going to get a little bit of healthiness into your treats without them knowing it so much because it's going to be disguised by all the yummy peanut buttery, yogurty things that are going to be around it. Yogurty things, you know, the things around yogurt. I know, my way of terming things and phrasing things is my own. I'm going to patent that someday. So we have about a cup of our lactose-free yogurt. And then we have about 2 tablespoons, maybe a little more, of peanut butter. And that's going in there, peanut butter, jelly. And then you're gonna just mix it all together. It's pretty easy, guys. I try not to make these recipes too difficult because then it's not as fun, you know. You want this to be quick enough that you're actually going to do it, because if it's like so complicated, you know, you get home, you're already tired, and one of the easiest ways to bond with your pet is to give them a treat, but you don't want to pull the treat right out of the box. It's loaded with sugars and loaded with things that's not good for them. All the extras you got to count. Now, when your dog is 10 pounds, they're recommended, we'll go, you know, that's got to be like a little dog. The recommended daily caloric intake is between 200 to 275 calories. For a cat, it's more like 180 to 200 calories for a 10-pound animal. For a 50-pound dog, you're looking at about 700 to 900 calories. So take in consideration the treats as well, because those extra few calories are really a lot on a smaller animal. For us, we can have a couple of treats and be okay. But anyway, it looks a little brown and looks a little bit like this, but it looks really, it tastes really yummy, by the way, especially with the honey. I have these really nifty, cool little popsicle molds. You can actually push them out with a silicone so you don't struggle in pulling those things out, or just pull the, you know, the popsicle stick out. And there's not popsicles. I'm actually not using popsicle sticks, but that's what it's going to get called, because I'm not sure what else. There's a little plastic thingy that goes inside you. So it's a little more difficult to kind of get your filling in there because the opening is smaller, but that's okay. A little patience goes a long way in there. So we're just going to kind of make that go inside and see how that's, so you can actually just take your little spoon and level it out, and then we'll wipe it off just a little bit before we put that back into the freezer. I'm working on my actual words. I say that too often. Actually. So we're gonna stuff those. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm addicted to some of these pet joke websites. I found one I love. So what do you get when you cross a dog and frog? A dog that can lick you from across the road. Oh my gosh, that's so my Lukey bear. I call him Licky Lukey. He likes to lick the water off my legs. He's such a funny little dog. And he loves to watch dogs with jobs. So I'm going to have to give him a job because he's just the cutest little thing in the world. He's a red-headed border collie. Can you imagine? Just being a border collie alone is like enough work, but he's a redhead. So in talking about my dogs and their activity level, both of my doggies, they reside in an apartment, but we give them lots of exercise. There's ways that you can give your dogs exercise indoors as well as outdoors. If you don't have time or it's not good weather to go outside, then you can play with him, play little games. My little Lukey bear, his name's Luca. Sometimes I call him Luca Brasi because he can be a little like, ugh. But when he's being cute, Lukey, he has a little game that he plays, and he sticks a ball in his mouth. and then he pushes another one with the ball he's got in his mouth, and he just pitter-patters it all around the room, and he plays soccer with you. So he can go for hours and hours and hours doing that. And if you have stairs in your house, get him to go up and down the stairs. Get him to chase a ball up and down the stairs. There's lots of different ways that you can play games and exercise your dog mentally as well as physically indoors. So it's no excuse. You're indoors, no excuse. But that does take, it is something to take into consideration for how many calories you give your dogs. Now, I'm in Vermont and I get spoiled with all these trails. So when I take my doggies, Astor's not really able to do that anymore because he's got cancer and he doesn't have the energy level as well. Bless his heart, he's 11 years old. But Lukey Bear, well, he's called the Energizer puppy. And when I take him out, he goes and goes and goes, and he goes up the trails with me all over the place. So I definitely take that into consideration on those days when he's got a little extra energy expenditure. And so I use a combination of a little kibble. Of course, when I have my restaurant, I have access to all sorts of great foods. But I usually do a little bit of lean meats like chicken to enhance and to give it a little more fresh food. Of course, I don't put any garlic or any extras on there. I pretty much just roast it. Or you can do a pan saute and some oil, and that's okay too. As for raw foods, it's a debate, but I think that if your dog is not used to having raw foods, it's a little difficult to just go straight to a raw food. That's something you want to talk to your vet about, but if you're going to do that, I would ease into it. Maybe give him like a medium hamburger meat or something to start. And especially when you're considering chicken, that's probably not the best raw food to give them. I would definitely say to cook your chicken, which I do. I'll cook it all the way through. Then I'll add some eggs in there too. But I get a grain-free kibble that is low in preservative, it's an organic, and that gives them, it's loaded pretty much fortified. That's how I give them the balance of the vitamins. That is a little hard to maintain on your own in the proper portions. So if you're just looking up if you're being attentive and making sure that your food, the little kibble that you're giving to your animals is going to be healthy, also your vet can help with that. I've stuffed all these guys. I might just wipe it off a little bit. And in regards to the amounts of protein and amounts of carbohydrates that are in those canned or dry food, the level of protein is not that high. The level of protein in a kibble food, about 29%. In a dry, it's about 40%. And then for fat, it's about 16% for dry kibble and 23% in a wet canned food. So you're looking at a little higher levels of fat and a little lower levels of protein. Now dogs can go from 30 to 70% protein versus fat, but it's best to do it more on the high end. And also, just think of what the prey would be. It's 70% water and mostly protein. Got a little calcium and some other things thrown in there, but that's what nature gave them. So we kind of want to stick with as much as natural as possible when it comes to their diet. Okay. So all you have to do is stick our little popsicle sticks, that aren't popsicle sticks, in here, and I'll just probably clean these off a little bit the rest of the way to get them sort of just more even and easy to pull out. And then I can show you the ones that we made before and how they come out, because it's pretty cool and pretty yummy, and it's just the right size for your poocheroos. So let me go get the ones that I made last night. My trees deserve a held note. Okay, so as you can see, oh, look how cute these are. They're just the right size. You see that they're not going to be so many calories that it's going to be hard on your puppies, but it's such a cute little way to reward them and get them something yummy right after your walk. So this is great. And guess what? You can eat them too. Peanut butter. Stay tuned for the next treat.
And that's a wrap.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Oh my God. They are really good. I'm glad you should try them. So we've both seen two fabulous places to take your pets when you're traveling in Vermont. The Equinox Resort and Spa here in Manchester, Vermont, and also the Barrows House, which is also in conjunction with the Dorset Inn in Dorset, Vermont. Two very different places offering different things, but most importantly, they both offer great service and friendly atmosphere and lots of great things to do with your pets. Now Lukey here, he's just happy when he's with me. So as your human buddy, It is our responsibility to make your pets healthy and safe, and that requires planning. Lots of planning, guys. So when I'm traveling with Luca, the most important thing that I want to know about him is that he's not going to overheat and he's not going to get scared off in his situation. So with that, one of the great tools that you can have when you're traveling with your pet is the puppy bag. So the puppy bag is kind of like Mary Poppins. I'm just gonna like start throwing things out of there and you're gonna be like, how did she get all those things in that bag? And Luca's like, I can smell what's in the bag, and he can smell his treats. So he's really interested in this bag. But some of the things that will make your pet feel more comfortable is things that it recognizes, like say his favorite puppy blanket, or also a couple of puppy toys. Oh, see, watch. Yeah, that's good. We can also have a first aid kit. That's kind of important because just in case we have a little boo-boo, doggies need first aid kits too. I know, you're waiting for what's next. Now, when you're going to be taking walks with your pets, you're probably going to need to take a couple little poopy bags just to make sure that you don't leave some extra little surprises for other people in their lawns. So that's an important thing also. When you're driving in your car, you want to make sure you have some water. A lot of times if you have water from your water at home in a bottle, then the dog won't be smelling some strange elements in water in their environment. It is something that we don't think about, but the dogs do because they smell everything. So some water and a water bowl. If you're going to be traveling in a place where there's lots of movement, maybe a spill-proof water bowl would be good too. Let's see what else I have in my magical puppy bag dog. You also want to have a leash or two to make sure that you're going to be able to keep your poochies under control at all times and they're not going to be running off and maybe causing problems for themselves or for other people too. The best thing to do when you're traveling with your pet in your car is to wait until you hit a rest stop and then feed them, because then that also won't distract you in your car and trying to feed Fido and turn the corner at the same time. And it's also just a nice little way to take a break and give your little poochie a pet fur potty as well, and also to stretch their legs because sometimes traveling can be a little bit cumbersome. What else do we got in here, guys? Oh yes, make sure to bring along his food as well, his regular food, because your pet has to eat on their trips. The other thing that is also good is to make sure you bring any kind of vaccinations or health report, so that if you do have to travel somewhere where they require that, you're going to have it on hand. Luke is just all interested in the toy right now. I know, I'm going to play with you when I'm done. But certainly last and certainly not least is if you do have some special medications for your pet at the time, don't forget to take that too. So if you have a nice little list, it would be easy and convenient for you to be able to prepare for your traveling for you and your pet, and it's going to be safe and fun and happy. So the other option that you can go to, so a few different websites, they have some other pointers too, the American Kennel Club, Humane Society, and things like that. There's also a website called Bring Fido, and that has all sorts of restaurants and hotels and any kind of place that is pet friendly that you can go to. So those are different options, and for Lukey, pretty much as long as we're here together, he's going to have fun. So it's our job again as humans to make sure that they're going to have fun, but safely and healthy.